Alright, so this is my sequential function chart for one of the machines in the lab. So we have step 0. Prior to that we have 0.1. These are the sensors that are required and whether they're high or low. So it's required to have A0, B0, C0 plus push start in order to move to step 1, which is retracts arm down. Which Q, so input is the 0 on the PLC for the inputs, or the outputs, I mean. That's the output. Output is 0, and then sensor is A, and it goes to A1, which is what turns on. And then we now have step 1.1, which this is what is required prior to step 2 being able to function. So we have A1 like we do right there, which is required to be on, as well as input 4 on the PLC, which is the input that changes from the start position. So where that is required to change, input 4, which is the light on the PLC, and then we get into step 2, which is closing the claw, and the outputs for that are 0 and 2 on the PLC for the outputs, which is the C sensor, which then goes to C1, and then so and such and forth. Then we have 2.1, so C1's that sensor, which is required to be on for the next step, and then the inputs that change are 7 plus 0 for the DIB side, and then the 7's the DIA, and then the 0.0 is the DIB, so that's what the 0 light changed from the start position. And then that allows us to extend the arm up. And then A sensor, A0 changes, goes to the next one. Then to that step, A0 sensor is required to be on for the next step. 4 on the input is supposed to change, is required to change, which then gets us to the next step for arm rotates B sensor, so on and so forth. And these arrows are each next step, and I wasn't able to get a line through those, but those are push buttons, so that's required for you to have all of these lights turn on, and then push button to then retract arm down. A sensor turns on A1, and then you go to A1, 4, 0 on DIB, changes, push button, so and then so on all the way through until we get to extend arm up, which is back where that was. The start position is extend arm up. And then we work our way all the way back to A0, like we started out right there. Everything's all zeroed out. That's start position, and then since it's on a slide, I couldn't fit it, but then there's a line that should go around, goes all the way around, and then back up to step 0, and then start it all over again. And that is the sequential function chart. These are tied to each other. That's the sensor. A1 is high, A0 is low, vice versa for all of them. So C1 is high, C0 is low, B1 is high, B0 is low. And that should be my sequential function chart for the pickup and rotate arm in the Mec lab.